Hey, I'm Jay, and I have something to say about Dungeon in a Box Wondrous One Shots.
So, those of you that aren't aware, there is a subscription service for pre-made adventures that come with a printed map, with skinny mini standees, and the adventure rules for 5e. There's a year-long campaign called Dungeon in a Box, where you do a monthly subscription, and there's also these Wondrous One Shots. Now, their website actually isn't very easy to navigate around between the two, even though they're the same company and it's basically the same product. And you actually have to send an email to cancel your subscription, but signing up is pretty easy. So you can see there's a rundown. You get a multiple-page adventure booklet. It's smaller than 8.5 by 11, but easy to mail. You get a full-size battle map, and you get all of the minis you need for the encounters, except for possibly one like extra large mini. So you can see they kind of are promoting all the different ones that you could have gotten in the past. You can actually order them ad hoc instead of the subscription service, but they're a little bit more expensive. So for example, the subscription's $20, but it's $30 to get all of this. Now I think you have to pay extra for the full gelatinous cube, and not just the standees on this particular one. But once you have a subscription, you can actually go back and buy the old ones, and you can download all the adventures and maps digitally for all of the old ones, even if you only sign up for 1 month of subscription and then cancel. You can go download all the old ones for digital, but then you don't get the standees and the paper map, right? So we'll go through and look at some of the, just look at a couple of the old ones. Thunderball Run, I think, is like a race. So you can see the maps have, 2 boats, 2 competing boats, and some rooms. And this one's only $15 because it's not coming with the skinny minis. So the subscription does come with all the minis you need, except you can pay extra for, they always have one premium. So, if you look in this picture, there's all these little brightly colored fey creatures and this really big fey dragon. That one you have to pay extra for. The one I just got that I'm going to show you in a little bit, there's a big, I think it's called a gaping maw, like a big mouth that gets surrounded by tentacles. It's kind of like a Sarlacc pit or a Cthulhu monster type thing. So you have to pay extra for the mouth. That doesn't come with a subscription, but you can go back and order it later. Let's see if I can find that. I can't actually. But this one at least looks like, you can see all the skinny minis that come with this one. Here's a whole bunch of dwarfs, so you can fit more on a sheet. You get basically a sheet of acrylic minis that you punch out and a sheet of bases for them that you punch out, and they're thick. They're not it's not like a transparency, like flimsy stuff. It's like plexiglass, basically, but they're painted on. They're pretty good quality. If flat standees aren't your thing, and you're willing to spend a little bit more money, I can also suggest Steamforged Games Epic Encounters. So these, you get a whole box of minis. These are more closer to $40-50, depending on which ones you're getting, but they have a whole box of minis. They have really unique stuff like kobolds riding salamanders and orcs riding polar bears, or you can get one big mini, and these are about the size of the WizKids Premium. I have the Greek Odyssey of Theros Hydra. I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm not going to say it. And I have the Epic Encounters Hydra, and they're about the same size. And they again come with a poster map book, and an adventure and rules for scaling up and down. The skinny minis, Wondrous One Shots, you actually have to download rules for scaling levels. So here's a big picture of all the minis for the Kobold and Dragon. These are actually 2 different box sets. The Dragon's its own box set with its own double-sided map. And it'll come with round cardboard tokens for the Kobolds if you just buy the Dragon for the 2 encounters. And then the Kobold minis come with 2 encounters. So a little storyline. And these are pretty good quality. I mean, they're injection molded PVC plastic, but they're pre-assembled. I've seen a couple gaps, but I've also seen some really good good sculpts there. And they're getting a big selection. A couple things I'm a little surprised at the new ones, like Island of the Crab Archon instead of like Drow, but they're basic. Their goblins, kobolds, and orcs are pretty good. So you can see that they have a pretty wide variety here. So I definitely suggest those. If you're into painting your own minis, you will have to prime them. Paint doesn't stick to the raw PVC very well if you're going to paint them, but they are color coded, right? All the kobolds are red. All the jungle goblins are green. All the cave goblins are dark gray. So they're pretty. I have this one and the giant spider and the giant hydra. So you can see they're a dark gray plastic here. You got goblins riding spiders, and there's possibly a painted example. But this is kind of like the entry-level example, right? So instead of paying, $20-30 for an adventure book, and that's all it is, it's just the book and doesn't come with, physical maps or miniatures. This one's all encapsulated. You don't have to have a miniatures collection. These are the same style and artwork and scale as Skinny Minis brand. I think Dungeon in a Box owns Skinny Minis. I don't think it's the other way around. But they are Skinny Minis brand. So if you go to look for those, and WizKids just started putting out 2D acrylic minis. They're called the Icons of the Realms 2D. I think they're a little overpriced MSRP because they're still like more than $1 a mini for a standee. So at that point, I will just buy the aftermarket pre-painted ones. And then without further ado, we will get.
So this is my live unboxing of Dungeon in a Box Wondrous One Shot adventure for the month of May 2022. I already opened this. It comes in a bag, waterproof for the mail. It had my address on it, so I wanted to get that out of the way first. But this box is a little bit larger than I was expecting. I've had coffee subscriptions that were about this size, so this is a little bit bigger. It's got nice artwork on it. It says by Dungeon in a Box on the back, but nothing really that identifies what's inside. A lot of empty space. So I expected a little more packing material, and again, that makes the box a little bit kind of big. Here's a little quality check tag. It says it was checked by an enigmatic brain eater for quality control. And let's see what we got. We have Tide and Tithe, an undersea kind of temple adventure. So there's an adventure book and a map, and Skinny Minis. So if you guys haven't seen these are 2D, high quality art miniatures, but they're flat. They're standees, but they're high quality acrylic standees. So there's some tentacles, some sea devils, some terrain, and a mermaid. And I'm not quite sure what this one is. I almost expected to get 2 sheets, but we'll see here. I'm not sure which ones are supposed to go on the large bases. Maybe I only have 2 large bases. I'm thinking they maybe gave me a standard base sheet, even though you don't really need it. I think you only need the little ones. But they're just slot and tab. Let's see if I can get that to focus. So there's a little tab here and a slot, and you just pop them in. And that's actually a little far. That could actually go with a little bit smaller of a slot. So let me see if one of these other ones works a little better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So there's kind of like a sea witch, which is really cool. So in theory, all of the monsters you need on this for the adventure are on the Skinny Minis, and you don't need to provide any of your own. If you get the Dungeon in a Box, if you get the Dungeon in a Box campaign, they come with like one physical miniature, and they also sell extra large miniatures, which is like basically one miniature for a whole. That's the whole size of this sheet, so it'd be like that big, like 3 inches. So here's a double-sided map. This one's actually got 2 sections. So there's like an undersea temple room here. And then on the same side of the map is a wreck. And then on the back side is one larger map, which just kind of undersea ruins. So this is a good size. This is a good, you know, this will fill up a coffee table or take up half a dining room table. So that's nice. Zoom out and get a little bit bigger shot of that here. It's going to need a little flattening. And I'm starting to lose my camera mount. So the adventure book, it's what, about 6 pages. It's written just kind of like you get a standard, you know, 3 or 5e adventure, and stat blocks for anything that's not in the monster manual, which would be the coral reefs and the tentacles. So that's cool. Whole adventure, mail order subscription, 1 per month in a box, and in a one shot that you can, Wondrous One Shots are ones that you can pop into any campaign. The regular dungeon in a box is a full 1-year campaign, so 12 adventures that you get once a month. So I'm pretty impressed. I wish the bases were a little bit more specific for the minis, but I'm pretty impressed with the content and the quality. So I hope you like my take on that.